Now for card 3 we're going to use the Sun-Kissed Fleur, and this is a die set from Spellbinders, but it has a matching stamp that goes with it, and I'm going to ink this stamp up with Versamark, and I'm going to use some pink embossing powder on it. Now, just to make these flowers look a little bit different, I'm using some craft parchment, and this is heat resistant parchment, and I'm going to add the Versamark to my stamp. So I'm just going to make sure that it's all covered, and then we're going to pop that down onto the parchment, make sure it's all pressed in place, and it is quite a large stamp. Now once I take that off, you can't really see a lot there, but it is stamped, and I'm going to add in some pink embossing powder. Now once that is tipped off, and I'm going to pour it back into the little pot, you can see that the powder has stuck to the parchment, and I'm going to heat emboss this. And don't worry about the little bits that are around the side, because we're going to cut this out, remember, with the die. So I'm going to heat emboss from underneath, and then I don't blow all the powder off, and it's going to be a little bit more. So once we have this embossed, we can then marry it up with the die. Now because this is parchment, you can see on the other side that you're in the correct place. And once you're happy that all that embossing is seated in that die, you can tape that in place so that it doesn't move, and then run that through your die cutting machine. So once you've put that through your die cutting machine, you can just remove the tape and take the die out. And then once you pop all the flowers out, and they come out quite easy, you then have some very pretty embossed flowers to add to your card. Now what I've also done is run the die through the machine again with just a plain piece of parchment, just to give me a sort of backing to my flowers. There they are, lots of flowers for you to work with. Now the next thing to do is just to add some shape to the petals, and all I'm doing is just curling them over the end of a bone folder and just pushing them in towards the centre. And then I've backed each of these flowers onto a plain piece of parchment, and I've added a pearl to the centre. So with my flowers made, I can pop them on one side while I get on with the rest of the card. Now from the largest die from the Grand Labels, I've cut myself 2 of the back and front. I've added in the hinge so that that's joined together. Then from this very pretty silver foiled card, I've cut myself 2 of the pink layers. I've also, out of one of them, I've also created an aperture in it using the Grand Labels, the Labels 28 die. And then I've formatted them onto some white backing card, and one is going to go inside the card and the other one is going to be on the front of the card. Now before I glue anything in place, I've also cut myself a border, and I'm going to add some ribbon to the top of that on both pieces. So I've added in my lacework and my ribbon. This has been glued inside the card. Now this one is going on the front, but before it goes on the card, I need to make sure that that sentiment is going to sit straight and neat underneath. And then once that's in place, I can then take this away, glue that in place, and then with foam pads on the back, I'm going to pop that back over the top, and that will keep my sentiment nice and straight underneath. Now when you add in your foam pads, just make sure that they support this opening in your card. And to make life easier for yourself, if you glue these two pieces together and then cut out the aperture, you'll know that they're lined up properly. So then all we need to do is just pop that onto the card, and the foam pads just keep it raised up from the base. And you can just see it's raised up there. So now we need to create some frames to go around this opening. So from the Decorative Labels 28 and a plain die, we've created this frame, and then go to the plain labels and create this frame. And both of these frames have foam pads on the back. Now one is going to sit along there, and the other one is going to sit on the top. So once this frame is in place, I'm now ready to just add in the flowers, and I'm going to lay them along the side, and I like my flowers to come over the edge of the frame. They just seem to fit nice and neatly. You can add your flowers in wherever you wish. And I'm just adding in the leaves as well. Now if you look at the layout to that card and the layout to this card, the layout is the same, but just by varying the colour and the flowers and the embellishments that you add, you can make your cards look different, even though you follow the same layout. So there's your card finished, but here's something else you might like to consider. And what you can do is emboss an envelope and add in one of the flowers. And this is a lovely way to hand give a card with a matching envelope. Obviously if you put it in the post, this might drop off. But if you're hand delivering something, that's lovely.